I'm gone.
Run with a wild crew, they get reckless. Young boy, come up off that neck.
Give me
Into
that.
the trends. See Lee be the band.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Bleachers to Speakers. It is now Tuesday after 4 o'clock, and the Lions have made their final cuts. Now, this announcement could not come without some interesting developments, and we are actually at 50 people right now. So we've cut all individuals that we need to cut and some. And we now know who's going to start the year on the injured reserve and in pup list. And we so just to lay out the groundwork, there are 16 available practice squad slots that we will fill once the all waiver clearances have gone through. And then we have injured reserve guys, pup list guys, and we can have as many players as we want, up to 90. It's either 80 or 90 spots. So you can have as many injured players if you want to on that pup list, but you can only reactivate, I think, 8 people. So, like I said, 50 people. The most notable cuts that we had yesterday, as far as surprises and big names, Hendon Hooker, Skipper. Why am I drawing a blank on his first name? Skipper, Jackson Meeks, and Broderick Martin. Broderick Martin and Hendon Hooker are two guys that Broderick Martin and Hendon Hooker are two guys that were drafted in the 3rd round a couple years ago, and we knew that they were going to need a strong camp to be considered, and they both fell short of that. Obviously, Broderick Martin had a pretty good preseason, actually, but just the uncertainty of what he was going to bring to the table. The Lions went out, drafted an interior defensive lineman, Tyleik Williams. They went out and signed Roy Lopez from the Arizona Cardinals. So he was up against it from the very beginning going into camp. They elected to go with Tim O'Connor, Chris Smith, and Trey Wingo. Yeah, Mekhi Wingo, not Trey Wingo. That's the commentator from the ESPN. They elected to go with Mekhi Wingo, Chris Smith, and O'Connor in the interior area. And as of right now, the biggest of all, the guy pictured in the graphic, Ahmed Hassanin, has agreed to an injury settlement, meaning that they have come to an agreement on some compensation to cover him as he recovers from his pectoral injury, and then beyond that, he will be able to join another team. This is a player that the loan everybody was seeking a edge rusher in the draft, and the lone draft pick that we made at the edge position, we ultimately ended up waiving. And this is not somebody that is going to come back as a practice squad player. I mean, he's hurt right now, so it's kind of a waste, especially if he's going to spend some substantial time on the injured list. But we have elected. This is a player that cried and said that he would die for the line. Somebody that people grew to love immediately. He made a couple really nice plays, tackles for losses, and sacks throughout the preseason. But that pectoral injury ended up being to his demise, and he will not be coming back as a Detroit Lion for the foreseeable future as of right now. So he has agreed to an injury settlement, and that leaves us with Aiden Hutchinson, Marcus Davenport, the forever injured Marcus Davenport, who's currently healthy right now, so I don't want to label him too crazy, and Muhammad. The only other edge rusher that we have on our roster is Pascal, and he has been out the entire preseason, and I think the expectancy was for him to come back in the beginning of September, and now that is in question. So with the Lions having 3 open roster spots, not even counting the practice squad, it's a foregone conclusion that some edge rusher will be picked up, whether that is Zadarius Smith or whether that is somebody random from another team that has already been waived. There's no way we can go into the season with Aiden Hutchinson on one side, Marcus Davenport on the other, and only one reserve edge rusher. That is leaving us very slim at that. I mean, we might bring in a couple edge rushers at this point, because that's just kind of thin at the edge rushing position. You got two guys that are coming off season-ending injuries. Marcus Davenport and Aiden Hutchinson both did that. So, so as far as receivers is concerned, we are bringing back, of course, St. Brown, J-Mo, Tim Patrick, Khalif Raymond, and Isaac Tesla. And then the sixth receiver is Dominic Levet. He gets the edge over Jackson Meeks. Probably, I would assume, just due to the fact, I mean, obviously we drafted him, but we drafted him in the 6th round. So there's not too much politics in that. But I just think that Dominic Levet, who showed some good promise, he made some good plays, but he also had some drops and looked a little raw. But I think that his ability to play special teams is what gives him the edge on the 53-man roster as of right now. Outside of that, we bring in 3 tight ends back, Laporta, Wright, and Zylstra. Nothing crazy there. The reserve tackles outside of Sewell and Decker are Giovanni Manu and Jamarco Jones. 2 guys that didn't play a whole lot last year. Jones is a veteran. He's got starter experience, so I think they're pretty comfortable with him. And Manu, who is the project guy from Canada, has obviously shown enough development for them to be comfortable with him, because Dan Skipper ultimately was let go in favor of him. He's the other, Skipper is a tackle. He does not play on the interior. So the interior, you got Glasgow, Mahogany, and Ratledge, Awasika, Miles Frazier is on the pup list, and then you got Kingsley Egakun. So that is your interior offensive lineman. What else we got here? Outside of that, nothing really jumps off the page. We talked about the interior already. Chris Smith got the edge over Broderick Martin. He only played about 40 snaps last year, but he was solid in a limited role. Pat O'Connor got the nod as well. That's the former, I want to say he's a Michigan native or somebody that went to school in Michigan. Nothing crazy on the linebacker front. Ezekiel Turner is on the IR. Rodrigo is on the pup list. Trevor Nowaski makes the team. Grant Stewart obviously makes the team. And Zach Cunningham, who had a very good preseason as well, makes the team. We all know about Anzalone, Campbell, and Barnes. That's a given. Cornerbacks, pretty obvious. Avonte Maddox, Khalil Dorsey, who June was very emphatic was going to make the team, and he did. And he's just now returning from a broken leg. Robinson, Reed, Arnold, you guys know about that. The 3 safeties, we called it Rockison, Kirby Joseph, and Brian Branch. And then you got your punter, kicker, and then the long snapper. So yeah. That is what we have going on. The big news today being the injury settlement between the team and Ahmed Hassanin. I was not expecting that. I would have thought that they would just throw him on the pup list, but I don't know. That's interesting. I want to know more about that. A couple, the notable guys. Cooper was waived. Let's pull it up. Let's see who else. Because Cooper was a guy that they really liked his versatility and was making some waves throughout camp. Who else? The important news to know is that there are 3 open spots, which will not be filled by anybody that we waived. I would assume that is going to be somebody from outside of the organization, from free agency, or somebody on the waiver wire. But yeah, not a lot of notable guys that were cut that we were expecting to make the team outside of Dan Skipper, Jackson Meeks, and Hassanin. Broderick Martin and Hendon Hooker, you could possibly say that those are kind of big deals, but yeah, I'm trying to find a cut list here. Yeah. So right now, only members on the PUP and IR is Ezekiel Turner and Rodrigo. Damn. Trying to find a list of the cuts. I was actually kind of surprised that Lawrence Strickland got cut. Isaac Uku was waived again, like he was last year. He ended up being he ended up being on the practice squad, I believe. Nick Whiteside, Morris Norris, the guy that had the scary concussion, he was waived as well. Zach Horton, the guy that can play a little bit of tight end, a little bit of fullback, was cut as well. Outside of that, Ronnie Bell, Agude, Barku, yeah, nothing crazy. Keith Cooper, that was the Keith Cooper Jr. was one of the guys that had made a campaign. Jacob Sailors as well, but I kind of figured that they would just hold on to Reynolds and Vaki. So that is the current the current roster. There's 50 men on the roster. There's 3 more that are going to be added, and that's what you want to keep an eye out and see what happens. So once we figure out, especially if it's something, earth shattering, we will be back to discuss that. So we'll just have to see who comes back on the practice squad, who we end up filling that roster, filling those 3 open rosters with. As far as outside of the edge rushing position, which, like I said, we could ultimately add 2 guys, and I don't think that you could really think it's too wild to add 2 edge rushers, because we only have 3 edge rushers, 2 of which are coming off season-ending injuries. I could see us possibly adding another safety, because right now we only have Branch, Joseph, and Rock right now. I think we're pretty solid at corner, even though Avante Maddox could play. I think they said could play some safety, so that gives us some wiggle room. Outside of that, definitely no receivers. Who else? Where else could we add some depth? Maybe on the interior offensive line position, you could see somebody additional added. Outside of that, yeah, I think all over the defensive line. But I think we go out and get 2. I think we go out and get 2 edge rushers. If there's 2 out there to grab, I think we do that. Might need a 3rd quarterback at some point. I don't think you hold a main roster spot for a 3rd quarterback, but certainly a practice squad guy to hold the clipboard. So, but that's that. Subscribe to the channel. This is a live reaction. The roster just kind of came out not too long ago, so stay tuned for any new developments, and check us out on our audio aggregators. I'm out.
Get your lick back. If a nugget on you something, ain't no chit chat. Better stay up out the way, don't get your shit splat. Stop, let this shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back.